I hit record.
Terrifying.
Get excited. Woo! 3, 2, 1. You are live.
All right, welcome to Pop Sports with Andrew Gallagher and Jerry Perrone and
Ooh.
Alex Bellman behind the glass. We're here to talk about your Boston sports, leagues in general, and pop culture, which is me. We got our sports expert, Jerry Perrone, over here. And we got Alex, our lovely tech guy behind the glass, making the magic happen.
Oh, yeah.
So, a little rundown. Some of the main topics we're going to do today. Reuben Foster and the domestic violence policy in the NFL in general. We're going to go over the Patriots game on Sunday. How'd they do? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse about that game? We're going to preview what does the game against Minnesota have in store with us. What is it going to look like? The playoff picture. What it looks like in the league right now. Are we worried? Do we feel confident? Do we have some contenders, pretenders in the league that we should keep an eye on? We also have a movie review at the end, Crimes of Grindelwald, that just came out 2 weeks ago. And any potential movies coming up in December that we might be getting excited about. So that's the way our show is going to look today. So, Jerry, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you doing, man?
Hey, I am doing great. 6 feet above the ground instead of 6 feet under is okay with me. So, why don't we get started? Alex, do you have anything to say?
I'm nothing. Let's do this.
All righty.
That's what we like to hear.
So, let's jump right into it. So, we got the issue with Reuben Foster that happened within the last couple of days. Pretty
big stuff happening right
big
there.
stuff. I mean, he's a good player regardless. One of the really good defensive talents.
One of the good young defensive talents specifically. He's someone who can really anchor a defense with his play on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's 24 years old.
He's got to be about 24. I mean, I think it's his second year in the league. I think he was a 4-year starter, so he's got to be about 24, 25 tops. I mean, he's clearly someone that could anchor a defense. He's clearly someone who played a very pivotal part of the defense, calling the plays at the as the middle linebacker for the Niners this past year and last year. I think as a rookie, I think the last few games he got the green dot in his helmet as well. I mean, he's a real talent. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, look at any headline and you'll see it's disgusting what this guy has done off the field. He's really sabotaged. Well, could sabotage. We'll get into that in a little bit. What could have been an amazing NFL career, or at least a solid one, specifically on a team that has a really good track record at building these middle linebacker types. Think Navarro Bowman or Patrick Willis, specifically the last 20 years. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like it's one of these things where it's some scrub that you hear about, and it's like, oh, this guy got arrested.
Right.
This is some big stuff. This is like Ray Rice-esque. I mean, Reuben Foster isn't a household name like Ray Rice was at the time.
Right.
But this is some big stuff, especially when you saw the whole Ray Rice incident come up, and you say, okay, well, the NFL is going to do something so this never happens again. Mm-hmm. But yet, the NFL becomes a broken record, right?
Here we are again. And the one thing I got to say is I don't think this is the NFL's issue specifically. And my logic with that is the NFL can't jump in right away. It has to be up to the teams, the organizations, the front offices to say, no, I don't want this guy in my league. I don't want him in my locker room. And that's the issue. And here we are. It's his second offense, and the Washington Redskins claim him immediately on waivers after what I think the Niners did was the right thing. They waived him. They cut him right away. Once the second thing happened, they said, no, we're done. We don't want it. The Redskins claimed him right away, and they didn't. What bothered me the most is they didn't do any work into it. They didn't look into it. The only team to call the police station that arrested him was the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the ones that called the police station to ask and to check in and see what the actual police station had to say about it. It wasn't even the team that claimed him. And the team that claimed him, Doug Williams, I believe, is the president of the Redskins.
Yep.
He was the one who said, we're going to do everything right. We're going to let the legal process go through. We're going to vet him ourselves. We're going to let the front office take a look and review everything. and yet here he is being claimed by them without any work done. And I get it. The NFL did the right thing. Once he got claimed, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 hours later, the NFL reacted, and they're the ones that put him on the commissioner's list. So he's inactive until he's taken off the commissioner's list, which can be at any time that the commissioner's office, until they say pretty much you're off the list. But he can't practice. He can't train or work out with the team outside of some meetings and some approved meetings by the league. The league has to approve some meetings and some things like that. And that's it. Like, he can't train. He can't get a playbook, really. It's nothing. So I think the NFL took the right steps. It's still up to the actual teams to make the right decision. And I think this is where they messed up.
Yeah. Well, what I really get, to steal it from one of our buddies, what really grinds my gears about the situation, shout out to Sam, is that this guy is a habitual offender. And yet, over and over and over again, these guys still are able to come back in the league because it's almost, if you have the talent, it's come to a point where it's almost like a privilege. It's not or they think it's a right to play in this league.
Yep.
It's like, I got the talent, I can play in this league, I'm going to play in this league. I think the accountability is at an all-time low. If you look at, I think it was the latest CBA where they gave Roger Goodell all this power to essentially be the judge, jury, and executioner.
Right.
It's completely derailed the whole kind of authority of everything. So now you have one guy who's essentially holding the power.
Yep.
So looking at the NFL's actual personal conduct policy, they actually have a conduct committee that comes in, and it's a number of owners, 9 NFL owners that come in. They review the policy, and then they decide, do we need to do anything? And they bring it up to the commissioner. So it's really, okay, these owners get involved in this, but ultimately it comes down to the commissioner. The final decision of the process, it says right here, the commissioner or his designee reviews the panel's recommendations and makes a final decision on disciplinary measures. And, okay, that's all well and good. You need to have somebody that makes that decision, bipartisan of the owners, because obviously, owners care about their players and they want their players to play.
They're going to want the best players to play regardless of anything. Yeah. Agreed.
But he makes these decisions, and all of a sudden, he ends up reversing them. I was reading a story earlier. It was talking about Brandon Marshall, who's had multiple run-ins with domestic violence allegations, different charges, misdemeanors. And I think he was, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, about 4 games he was suspended, and then all of a sudden Goodell comes in and says, oh, that's 1 game.
Was that when he was with Chicago? Was that it?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. I think the one exception to Brandon Marshall is he took some of the necessary steps immediately, and he was also one of the few that has openly battled mental health issues as well. He's someone who I think was diagnosed with bipolar disorder shortly after that, and I think there was a lot with Brandon Marshall that kind of slipped under the radar with him. I think he really suffered from a lot of other mental health issues as well. So I think his is a bit more of a complicated case. But I agree that the front office never really said anything about that, which maybe they wanted to keep it under wraps. But they still let someone who was a domestic violence abuser get off on 1 game suspension, which in the grand scheme of things is not much at all.
Yeah. And even look like
just a bad image.
NFL owners. So if you think of kind of the highest profile NFL owners right now, you think maybe Kraft, Jerry Jones, maybe the Maras, just from that kind of classic.
The Maras, the Rooneys, the Fords. Yeah,
Right.
You want to go with the big names, the guys who've held teams on the longest.
Right.
Yeah.
So as part of this personal policy, conduct committee and these groups of people that are looking at these offenses and these policies, you get these high-stake owners who should be kind of the models of the owners in the league. And you get somebody like Jerry Jones, who was avidly speaking up for Goodell and his whole process with Deflategate. We're not getting into that, but he was all in favor
a
of
whole separate
yeah,
thing,
right.
yeah.
Like Goodell, great job. He's doing the right things, and then all of a sudden, you have Ezekiel Elliott who comes out with all these different issues that came up. I think domestic violence was one of them potentially.
there was
or
something
sexual
that-
misconduct.
I think there was I believe it was sexual misconduct. I think that was a small thing that really kind of disappeared. But I mean, you could say, remember the whole thing with Randy Gregory signing him?
jeez, there's
Or
another
Gre- or-
gem.
Or Greg Hardy.
Yep.
I mean, I think Randy Gregory was more drug abuse.
Oh, was he the
I think he-
a-hole that had all the guns and was threatening to kill his girlfriend? He had guns all over the couch and
I think that was Greg Hardy.
oh god.
It
No,
doesn't
that was
matter.
the other one.
It was Randy,
Randy
Gregory?
Gregory?
That was the other one.
It was Greg Hardy.
Oh wow, their names are close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it was great.
That's why we got them mixed up. Thank you, man behind the glass.
Oh, you're very welcome. That's why I'm here.
No, but yeah, it was Greg Hardy, the one who had all of the loaded semi-automatic weapons, and he tossed his girlfriend on the bed of them and threatened her, and like that was his whole thing. I think he got suspended like 10 games, came back, and the Cowboys played him
Yep.
like just another day at the office.
Oh no, he's with the Panthers. Panthers release him, and
Panthers, that was
then
it.
of course Jerry Jones on his high horse. Oh yeah, let's pick him up. And then you got the same thing with who else was it?
I mean, you can go through the list.
I mean, yeah, or back to the Elliott.
you could actually even go back to the Bengals running back there, Joe Mixon. Doesn't Joe Mixon didn't he beat up an ex-girlfriend or something when he was back in college? And I think the Bengals still made him like a 3rd-round pick or something.
Probably.
Gregory was suspended for drug abuse.
Oh,
Lots
okay.
of drug
Yeah.
abuse.
Randy Gregory was the one who failed like 3 tests in a row, and he's still
Right.
somehow in the league.
Yeah,
Yep.
and he's on Dallas now.
Yeah, I think they drafted him. I think they drafted him in like 1st round or something.
Well, here, let me put it on screen for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean, reinstated from suspension. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's someone that just somehow got a million chances because he was a standout at Nebraska. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what talent can really bring to the table, and well, it's really how much, because someone is so talented, they'll overlook some of the most disgusting acts.
Yeah. Well, that ties into the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing that I was kind of bringing up is Jerry Jones was this huge advocate for Goodell. Let's drop the ginger hammer, drop it on the Patriots, show the league.
Right, right.
We're not putting up with this. And then all of a sudden, Goodell makes his ruling on the whole Ezekiel Elliott thing. He was suspended, and then Jones gets up in arms saying, oh, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
This is too much authority, blah, blah, blah. Where
Finally, it affected him,
Yeah, it's
and
a
he
point
finally
where-
said it was wrong. Yes.
these owners are becoming complete hypocrites.
Yep.
So one of the, I have a couple of quotes here, if you don't mind me reading them real quick.
All right, go for it.
So this is a great,
I'll allow it.
thank you, a great hypocritical quote where this was from AJ Perez. Let me just double check the source here, of USA Today. So AJ Perez, the story was written yesterday. He goes, quote, the Redskins are immediately criticizing. The Redskins were immediately criticized for claiming Foster, who also faced felony domestic violence and other charges from an arrest in North California earlier this year. So earlier this year, Dan Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, was criticizing the whole handling of the Foster thing and the way the league handled it, the fact that the Niners were keeping him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was earlier this year. This is his 3rd incident this year.
Months ago, technically. I mean, if you really want to get down to it.
Exactly.
I mean,
this
wasn't like it was even a year ago. This was like months ago, flipped like
Right,
that, drop
yeah.
of a hat.
No, it shows you how hypocritical and what agenda these guys had.
Did you
So
guys
that was-
see this Mixon video?
No.
Yeah,
I
the
did
Joe
not.
Mixon. Yeah,
You need to see this right
Okay,
now.
yeah, play it.
This is unbelievable.
What do we got?
read and react.
I can't believe that this guy.
Read and react.
I
Here we
can't
go.
believe this guy got into the.
Hey.
Oh, hold on. Let me bring it up on the screen.
Thank you. That'd be helpful. Yep.
Let's come back.
Yep. It still disappeared. Psst, here we go.
Hold on. One more time. Sorry about that. And I know what's going wrong. There we go.
This is Bengals running back
The
Joe
public
Mixon.
can see it. Just you guys couldn't.
Ah, it's fine.
Are you
Ooh.
kidding me?
Yep.
This guy's in the NFL.
Ooh.
The article says he hit her because she was rejecting his advances.
Wow.
Are you serious?
I mean, she
The
was
hell is that?
within her right to try and get the guy away from her if he was actually making advances on her. Like,
Yep.
jeez.
That
Take a
is
hint, buddy. Holy crap.
Former Oklahoma running back and current Bengals running back Joe
Oh
Mixon.
my God, it's disgusting.
But because he can put up 100 yards and a couple touchdowns in a game, He's on a team making
Yeah.
millions of dollars.
Well, that's the same with Reuben Foster. I guess the Redskins reportedly were looking to pick him up later in the draft if he was there. He didn't end up falling to them. He was taken 31st by the Niners. But they were jumping at the opportunity to get this guy. And it really does set a bad precedent and a
Yeah.
bad taste in people's mouths. So another
Ray Rice was the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
really.
it really was.
I mean, Ray Rice. I mean, that what was it? Was it originally a 2-game suspension? Was that what it was? It was either 2 or 4, and
I
then
think it was 4, and then they realized,
and they-
wow, the video leaked. And then he was like, okay, well, people are going to get mad, so we got to do something about it.
And then he kind of got blackballed, which I think is still not a good look for the NFL to totally blackball a player like that. I mean, it seemed like there was. I'm not going to really get into like the conspiracy theory behind it, but it seemed like the owners were just kind of like, yeah, we're not going to.
I mean, there's a player currently being blackballed who did nothing wrong. Just saying.
That is true.
Which Tim Tebow? Is that who you're talking about?
I think I'm talking about Tim Tebow. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely-
Is that his
definitely-
name? I think it is.
Tim Tebow. Yeah, mobile quarterback, right?
Very.
Kind of ran a funny offense in college.
Yeah, and it didn't really convert to it originally, and it did. You know, it did well in the NFL.
Then it kinda
but then
faded?
It faded off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Former premium pick, right? Like early round.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Tim Tebow. This has got to be Tim
Yeah, it's
Tebow,
gotta
right?
be
Yeah.
Tim Tebow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. This guy went to Nevada. Right? Yeah. Nah. I don't know. Whatever you're talking about, it's crazy, man. It's probably Tebow.
No, it is a perfect example, though. Going on to the whole Kaepernick story.
Oh,
right?
that's
Ah,
Right,
crap. I wish we had
right.
the noises now. Drop
You know,
a bomb.
I totally forgot about that guy. No, but this is a perfect example. This guy did not break any laws, was doing something. I mean, people argue one way or the other, whether it was trying to gain attention, whether it was for, Black Lives Matter, all of the respect for minorities in the country, which, I mean, I genuinely think he probably was doing it for that reason. He's not doing anything wrong.
Time magazine seemed to also think he was not doing it for attention, was trying to
Right, no.
be a good
so,
person.
Yeah, trying to actually
I think it was
be a
Time
good person.
magazine Man of the Year 2017.
He was.
right?
That is
Yeah.
right. But this guy's blackballed out of the league just because of the whole national anthem issue. And you look at half the schmucks that are on a NFL team right now, and I mean, my fat ass could go out and throw a freaking ball probably as well as they could.
I was gonna say, you're telling me that Reuben Foster gets claimed hours after it's released that he's arrested for domestic advice for the second time, but Colin Kaepernick decides to kneel, not sit out, not show up, or anything, kneel during the national anthem to show that there's some inequality in this country, and he can't get another job. The Buffalo Bills started Nathan Peterman for how many games?
God.
Nathan Peterman statistically is the worst quarterback to ever play in the National Football League, period. Like, that's a thing. Like, his touchdown interception rate is like 3-12. There's never been a worse conversion rate. I mean, he's thrown more passes to the other team than any backup quarterback who started that few games that I've ever seen off the top of my head. I mean, it's crazy. He threw 5 interceptions in one half of football. That's amazing. That'll take Drew Brees like the entire season to get to.
Yeah.
And he can't get a job. Colin Kaepernick, you don't think would have made the Buffalo Bills at least a little better?
It's ridiculous. It
I
really is.
think the Bills have 4 wins this year. You don't think Colin Kaepernick would have at least put them at a 500 tier?
I don't know about 500, but it'd be better than it is now, I'm sure.
Man, they were ugly. I mean, Josh Allen, I don't think is a good quarterback. Like, I think he's all right. He's young, so he has hope. Mobile quarterback. And he is winning. He actually instills hope in what looks like an otherwise hopeless football team.
Yeah.
You don't think Colin Kaepernick, a dude who actually took a team to a Super Bowl, could instill a bit more hope? Or at least play a little better? Man, he deserves to have a job so much.
Yeah, but you get to say the Peter Man. As
You do
ESPN
get to
would
say the Peter Man.
The Peter Man.
Yeah, I think that's a high noon thing, right? Yeah.
It's like
The Peter
it's like-
Man can only do so much. I think that was their whole thing.
It's like
which
the
I love.
scariest quarterback you could have. It's like Voldemort. You
And
just
he
don't
kept
say his name.
playing.
It's like, oh, Baba Yaga. Like, stay away from him. Like, oh my God.
I think what amazes me about I don't know why we're going to still talk about Nathan
Let's go.
Peterman, but the thing that really amazes me about the Peterman is he kept getting opportunities to play. Like, they were like, okay, no, we're going to play Josh Allen because he's clearly better. And then Josh Allen would get hurt and they'd have to play the Peterman. And they were like, oh no, we'll sign Derek Anderson's old ass off the street and we'll play him instead. He gets concussed and they have to play the Peterman. It's like, you're so stuck. And finally, they got Matt Barkley off of the street to play with, I believe, like a week and a half of practice and knowing the playbook, and he looks like a freaking all-star. It's amazing. And yet Nathan Peterman got a workout with the Lions, Matt Patricia's Lions, less than a week after getting cut, which is just so unbelievably damning. It's amazing. I just don't get it. Colin Kaepernick has not sniffed the NFL since he kneeled. Nathan Peterman threw 5 interceptions in a game. Doesn't matter. That's really all I need.
Yeah.
I'm done with him there.
Seriously.
Syracuse? I think he went to Syracuse. Doesn't matter.
You would
It's
know.
irrelevant.
You're the sports guy.
I think he was a former 5th-round pick. And Kaepernick's a former 2nd-round pick. If you want to play the prestigious draft pick type of game, which usually gets played in the NFL, like Blake Bortles could get cut tomorrow and he'll get a workout just because he's a former top 5 pick. You know? Kaepernick's a former 2nd-round pick, so it's not like he doesn't have the draft, acumen. Like Christian Hackenberg, like the bust that the Jets picked in the 2nd round, got picked up by the Raiders immediately. Like it's not like
That tells you
Here
something
comes Nathan Peterman.
yeah,
the
here we go.
Peterman.
The Peterman can not play football. Great video. I can see nothing.
Look, there he is.
There
No
he
interception.
is. There he is.
It's the highlight reel.
Oh, he's doing great. Oh, he broke one of his
That's
players.
the one catch that he was able
There
to
he
throw
goes.
in the NFL.
Look at him go.
Wow.
Look,
He's like a gazelle.
Hey, he's here we go. There it is.
Under
Little
some
bit of-
pressure.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't help our agenda. That wasn't even his fault.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you can
pick's a
still
pick.
blame him.
To be fair, the Chargers last year were 3-6. I mean, they were not a good team. Up and
Oh,
Just
okay, there we go.
Okay,
Stupid throw.
that really helps.
What
the
are you
narrative.
doing?
All
Under
right.
under a little pressure, and he didn't
Oh,
step up in the
man.
pocket, stepped back into the pressure, and just threw a duck.
Oh my God, that's
That
ridiculous.
was an arm punt right there. That's what that was.
So, getting back to our original point,
What
this
was
is
that?
going to be a common occurrence where we just gotta get on. We'll get back to it. So,
Tangentize.
yes.
I think
So-
that's a word, right? It is now.
Probably. So we're
Alex,
gonna
make it a thing.
We're gonna wrap up this segment. So we've been off Foster for a little bit. So going back to Kaepernick. So a guy like Kaepernick who did, I mean, it's up for debate. I'm not gonna get into all the politics and the controversy, but really didn't do anything wrong. This guy's out of the league, blackballed, and you get this scumbag like Foster who's still in the league. 3rd offense in 1 year. So this is this is a quote from one of the local news sources that I was able to find. So it says, Foster was charged with felony domestic violence in April for allegedly attacking his girlfriend in February at their home, leaving her bruised with a ruptured eardrum.
Do you know what you have to do to rupture someone's eardrum?
Seriously.
Like,
Oh,
you have to
But the
seriously
victim,
do some damage there.
The victim
I mean,
recanted the statement and dropped charges.
yeah, which is just insane.
We were talking about this before the show. That should, if there's actual evidence against someone, you should not be able to then recant what you've said. If there's no evidence, you're the only person saying something, maybe. But if there's actual evidence against you,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be able to recant. The
But
police
like-
should still be able to choose to take action.
They can, though. The DA can choose to press charges. That's also on the DA for dropping the ball there.
Or you charge the other person that's recanting for perjury if they're actually lying about it.
Well, no,
they should both. I mean, they should at
That's a
least
little
go after
hazy,
him. They should at least go
The
after
DA,
him.
the
No,
DA
I'm saying it
could. The
puts
DA
pressure to make the DA and law enforcement do that.
technically,
The
the
NFL
DA
should do that.
Technically, tomorrow the DA could, the district attorney, tomorrow could charge him for everything, and just, I don't know.
But this is where I get a little dicey. Well, I give the Niners credit for taking the action to cut this guy because he's a talent. I don't know if he was their leading tackler this year or not, but he was definitely up there.
No, because I think he missed a game or two with,
Okay.
with
Well,
some
he's-
injury, so I don't think he was. But
But
it's- yeah, I mean,
look at. Oh yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But it's reported that the Niners cut him because he violated team policy. I mean, I give them credit because they have something in place. They have a reason to cut him. They took the initiative to do it, saying, we don't want this scumbag on our team. Even if he's, I mean, they're still going through the judicial process. So, I mean, you got to wait until everything's finalized. But, I mean, if you're crying wolf here, I mean, this guy's got plenty of offenses and rap sheets. So, I mean, I give them credit. But again, this happened twice earlier in the year, and they still didn't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. The one last thing I'll say on the matter is it's one thing to let something go once. Like, you can almost argue for someone to catch a break. No matter how, well, that's not necessarily true, but if someone does something wrong, you can take you made a mistake kind of route to the whole process. But this wasn't one isolated single mistake instant. This isn't like you took drugs, be it weed or coke or any level of steroids, Adderall, whatever. Like, you physically harmed someone multiple times and threatened their life, and that should trump sports.
Yep.
Entertainment, at the end of the day, that's what sports are.
Morality and accountability is what the NFL is lacking right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even when the front office makes the right decision, it's up to like, even when the NFL commissioner's office makes the right decision, it's got to be up to the owners to follow up.
Yep.
And that's where I think the NFL as a whole, as an entirety, dropped the ball.
It really is. Yeah, the owners are a huge part of the problem. Because the commissioner can make one decision, they give him the power, but it ultimately is up to the owners to actually show the initiative that, no, we do not want this culture.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on to our next segment.
Julie means more to me than anything. And I wanted to ask you, before I ask her, may I have your permission to marry her?
Is this some sort of a joke? A mall store ring? Don't disrespect my mother like that. Take that thing back and go to Bellman Jewelers.
Shopping for a diamond at the mall? Don't bother. Even a 9-year-old knows the difference. Shop at Bellman Jewelers, 1650 Elm Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Because at Bellman's, it's always a matter of trust.
All right, welcome back. So we are moving on to our next segment here, talking about the Patriots and the Jets this past Sunday. Jerry, what are your opening takes? What do we got?
In one word, uninspired.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
My one word, scared.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex, well, let's go to Alex. Alex, what would your one word be to describe that game?
If I could do a Trump impression, it would be sad.
That was completely sad and pathetic. There you go. I did it for you.
sad and pathetic. One
Thank
word.
you, sir.
Very
Thank you
nice.
so much.
I know words. I have the best words. So, anyways, Jerry, continue.
Now, I was going to say, this team kind of has this weird, like, 2009, 2010 vibe to me. Do you remember those weird years when we were kind of fearful that Belichick and Brady were fading? Brady was coming back from that ACL. Belichick hadn't really seemed to recover from 2007. And we kind of got a couple first-round outs, once to the Mark Sanchez's Jets and once to that Ravens team. And I don't know, that's what it kind of reminds me of. It just, yeah, we're going to go as far as Brady can take us. I don't think that defense is special. I think Gilmore has been sensational. Pro Football Focus, I think, has him as like the second best corner in the league. But, I mean, outside of him, I mean, we got some decent players who are playing okay, but I don't think anyone else has really stepped up. I mean, both the McCourties have been okay. Harmon, I think, has taken about 6 steps back.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah.
Chung is Chung. I mean,
I actually think Chung's been playing pretty well this
you know
year.
what? Specifically in that Jets game, he looked pretty
looked
good
pretty
in
good.
coverage. And I'm actually not very concerned about his tackling, being as he kind of acts as like our nickel linebacker in a lot of situations. I'm not worried about him as a box defender. It's his coverage that can be suspect at times. But as long as we keep him on tight ends and like not overly finesse running backs out of the backfield, I'm comfortable with Chung. But between McCourty and Harmon, I mean, they've been okay. Harmon, like I said, I think he's taken step backs. And if you look at some of Pro Football Focus's in-depth scouting reports on him, he has. I think they have him at like a 67 out of 100 rating, like 67.5, which is good for like somewhere in the 40s or 50s of all defensive backs. He hasn't been very good. And the one thing that Harmon was always good at was playing a center field role with Devin McCourty. They did a lot of cover 2, which is 2 safeties, play deep, closer to the sidelines, and Patrick Chung acts as the dime linebacker, or the nickel linebacker, and he's the one that kind of roams around the middle and covers the tight ends. But if Harmon takes a step back, it adds more responsibility to Chung, and if McCourty isn't as good as he has been in the past, it really leaves us susceptible to a lot of deep to intermediate and deep passes, which, quite frankly, was on display. I mean, outside of Gilmore's interception against the Jets, I mean, I thought there was some space downfield. If Josh McCown could push the ball, I think we would have really seen a tight game, because I think we left a lot of open receivers, specifically guys like Robbie Anderson, someone who's just a deep threat. Mm-hmm. I think he would have burned us if he was healthy and McCown could push the ball.
Yeah. No, I was terrified watching that game.
But
literally going into it, especially after halftime, I was not feeling good whatsoever. You're going in with I believe was it tied at that point?
I think it was. I think it was. I think, yeah.
And you're going up against the Jets, who, again, are in this terrible AFC East division. Mm-hmm. Basically been a cakewalk. Mm-hmm. And you have this team. So offensively, they're ranked 29th in the league. And you are tied with them. And you're ranked 8th in the league in offense. And that Jets team, their defense is not the Rex Ryan defense that we remember.
No.
You can score on these guys. They lost to the Cleveland Browns, okay? That was their Browns breaking streak. I mean,
right.
You can beat these guys easy. And it took you 4 quarters to beat the Jets. Literally, going into the 4th quarter, you did not know if you were going to win that game against the Jets. That was pretty terrifying.
I also want to point out that outside of the running game, which I think Sony Michel has been pretty good, he's gotten better every game he's played, and James White's been an absolute monster, just out of the backfield, like a better version of Kevin Falk, which is kind of scary to actually say out loud as, you know, a longtime homer. But who else impressed you on that team? Who else stood out as a true positive?
Only one I could think of was Edelman and Michelle. Those were the only 2 that really showed up.
Even Edelman.
Big.
I'm worried about Edelman. He's taken a lot of hits over the years. Specifically now, he's taking a lot more, because outside of him and Gordon, there's not a lot of receivers there. I mean, you can get guys that can sit on White. If you have a really good and committed defensive mind, you can kind of limit James White's production. Edelman is going to get his. Edelman's going to get his 70 yards if he wants it. 70 yards, probably a touchdown, 5 to 10 catches. I mean, that's kind of his range. But the only guy that really can change everything is not even Josh Gordon. I think it's Gronk. I think that's where it lies. And he looks like a shell of himself. He is not running the seam well. He is not getting any separation. Like, he used to get limited separation, but he's getting nothing now. Every time he falls, I think he's breaking something. He's a shell. I mean, we're lucky he's a natural talent, because he can still make a couple tough catches here and there. But man, it is a sad state of receiving core right now. Gordon's special, but he's still kind of really slow to integrate into the offense, which is fine. But Gronk is the one that aggravates me. It makes me really, really upset watching him, because I know what he was, and I see him now and I say, man, he looks burnt. He looks burnt out. I don't even know if he's committed anymore. I mean, this isn't me questioning his work ethic or anything, but like, would you want it if you were him, taking those licks? No. Struggling to run the seam on, no press coverage. I mean, I don't think the hunger is there.
No, I
It's
mean,
just the natural talent that's carrying him.
you got your ring, 2 rings. You got your 2 rings.
Yeah.
You know, you have all these health issues. You have your money. You got plenty of endorsements that you've been getting.
He just dipped into his football contract money this year.
yeah.
Like,
So
for the first time,
and
he
he's
took the first
someone
dollar.
And
with
he,
a personality.
And he bought a gold chain.
Yeah.
That's what he bought.
He didn't even-
dip into it for anything important. He just bought jewelry.
He didn't even have to. He said
Was it
he
from
just
Bellman's?
wanted to.
It was not from Bellman's. It was a huge mistake on his part.
That
He
is
would
a
have
huge
saved him a
mistake.
lot of
Yep.
money.
Yep. And better quality.
Much better.
You were saying?
Yeah, but I mean that's it. I mean, Gronk's not doing it for money. He's not doing it for accolades. Everyone already thinks he's the best tight end to ever play in terms of, arguably. I mean, there's some tight ends that could kind of run pace with him, especially in the modern day. You could argue. We talked about this off the air. Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez, at least they set the standard for modern tight ends. And if you want to go back, I'm probably going to forget some, but like Ben Coates, Kellen Winslow Sr., Ozzie Newsome, like you could talk about some of the old time tight ends, but everyone pretty much agrees in terms of sports experts. They pretty much say Gronk has it. I mean, how many records has he broke? And I don't even think he's 30.
I think he
Did he just turn?
just turned 30 or is about to.
I mean, he's
I think
not,
he's 30.
he's not old for tight end standards. Let's put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you were a running back, he'd be ancient, but as a tight end, I mean, he still should be producing at a reasonable click.
Yeah, tight ends usually play until probably their early to mid 30s.
I mean, if you want to talk about the elite ones like Antonio Gates and Tony
Oh, yeah,
Gonzalez,
well.
they played till they were 35. Antonio Gates still playing, and he's
he's almost 40.
98. I mean, who knows how
jeez.
old he is? But I mean, I don't know. I just look at him and I say it's really sad to see that. And if you want to talk about other concerns, Dante Hightower,
Oh,
Do we
he
wanna
has
talk about
not-
him?
He has not looked the same.
he's slow.
He's really freaking slow.
He can't get to the edge. I mean, I saw, I believe it was Elijah McGuire, the Jets running back, who kind of replaced Bilal Powell's spot in the finesse running back department. And I saw him make a stretch run in the first quarter, and man, Hightower just could not get there. I think Chung or McCourty saved him because they came up from the secondary and took him out. But man, Hightower could not get to the sideline any slower. I think this is a scary comment. I think Kyle Van Noy has been a little bit better as an overall linebacker. He's been okay, actually. You know, he's pretty good around the line of scrimmage coverage. I don't think he's anything,
That makes me lose sleep right there.
but
But the fact is, it might be
Terrifying.
true.
I mean, I probably not. I'm probably overreacting because, again, it's kind of like how I just described Gronk. Because I have much higher standard of Hightower, I see him now and I say, man, that's bad.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of Gerard Mayo towards the end. And that's why I think this kind of has like that 2010 Patriots kind of feel. It's Hightower who we expect to be so much better. We expect the all-pro. We expect the at least top 10 middle linebacker in the football league, in the National Football League, but we're getting a shell of himself. We're getting someone that isn't as durable as we would like. We're getting a smart player, but someone who physically can't make the plays that he used to. And that was kind of like how Gerard Mayo finished his career. It's kind of like why we got rid of, or why we tried to phase out Brewski towards the end with Hightower, or I'm sorry, with Mayo, and then Hightower replacing Mayo. So I mean, I don't know if we have that linebacker. I mean, that kid Jawan Bentley flashed in the beginning of the year, but he got hurt immediately,
Right.
and he's on injured reserve. I think he can come off injured reserve in 2 weeks. I think that adds up to the 10-week
I
injured
believe
reserve
so,
rule.
because I think he got hurt in week 2 or 3.
Yeah. So it's coming up. It's and I think Burkhead got the first spot, and I think Jawan Bentley is expected to get the second. So whenever he starts practicing, his 3-week window will open up to activate off the roster, and then we should be hopefully set, in terms of defense. But
Well, off the defense, too, another player that's really concerned me, I thought he looked really good last year, and I thought he was going to be solid this year, is Jonathan Jones. He does not look like the same player. He's given up some real big plays in some real big spots, and for your third corner right now, he's not looking reliable whatsoever. I mean, he's essentially looking like Philadelphia's Eric Rowe before they traded him.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what he's looking like.
Rowe's
And
on
it's-
injured reserve now for us too.
Yep.
So I mean, we don't even have Eric Rowe to fall back
Right.
on, which is a big problem. He
But-
was huge in the Super Bowl against Atlanta.
Yeah, and Jones, I thought Jones showed tremendous potential for where you got him, what you got him. I mean, he was looking like a pretty solid player in that secondary, and now, since that injury that he came back from, he doesn't really look the same.
So between him and Duron Harmon's step backs, that's really where you can see the gap on this defense.
Very
You know
noticeable.
what? Maybe Jason McCourty and Devin McCourty are still playing at the same level, and Stephon Gilmore's still playing at an elite level. But when Harmon and Jonathan Jones take a massive step back, it becomes this noticeable. Because then we're seeing guys that we're not used to popping up as often making plays, like the third wide receiver on a team or the second tight end or something like that. And that's where these guys should operate. Or at least the cornerbacks, we'd play matchups. Like Rowe would play, Gilmore would play the number one receiver who's generally more physical. Jason McCourty would play the second receiver who's more finesse. Jones would take the third. But if it didn't work out perfectly, say a team like Houston, say they wouldn't like a Stephon Gilmore DeAndre Hopkins matchup, maybe they'd play Jonathan Jones on Hopkins and double him with McCourty over the top, so we could shut down more with less, if that makes sense.
Right.
If Jones can't play that well, it really takes back what we can do, because then we're forced to put Gilmore on like island coverage, one-on-one with a guy like Hopkins, who can beat anyone, let alone our best
Right.
in single coverage. And actually, Pro Football Focus, Jonathan Jones's rating was a 61, which is mediocre. I mean, it's league average, maybe.
It's actually higher than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I think that's buoyed by, quite frankly, some poor teams that we've played. And a decent game against a poor team is weighted as equally as a bad game against a really good team, which I think is where the flaw is in Pro Football Focus's ratings. But I mean, it just shows that, you need those guys to step up, specifically in the playoffs, because that was actually one of the reasons why we did so well in our run to beat Atlanta. Was Eric Rowe stepped up majorly, and he played the physical receivers like Julio Jones. People forget Julio Jones only had like 4 catches in the Super Bowl. They were all highlight reels. Specifically that massive sideline catch where he somehow got 2 toe taps in.
That moment when you go, oh my God, here we go.
You thought it was the David Tyree, the
God.
Mario Manningham, that Javon Curse play. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. The catch
The
that kind
play.
of deflates.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry for the word deflate popping up, but no pun intended.
Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon, really?
Too soon. It will always be too soon.
But anyway, like Eric Rowe kept Julio Jones to 4 catches in the Super Bowl. That is amazing. It could be for 90 yards, but it's still 4 catches.
Yeah, especially if you look for what happened on Thanksgiving Day. You look at the Saints-Falcons game.
Yeah.
Jones was similar. It was like the Rowe type of strategy where you put your second best corner on him, and then you had safety help over the top. Jones still was carving him up. I think he had over 100 yards. I think he had around 1 to 120-ish.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I don't think he got in the end zone, but still.
Well, that's not new for the Falcons
No,
this
I know.
year.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think he's on par to finish with 2 touchdowns for the year,
so
which is just gross.
It shows you that it can be manageable if you have a solid second, third string cornerback that you can at least put a little faith in if you give them safety help.
Like,
I thought Jonathan Jones was going to be that guy. And now that he's not, that really limits your defense to what you feel comfortable trying to do.
So another reason why I'm going to go back to the 2009, 2010 years. Do you remember some of the cornerbacks from that year? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was guys like Sean Springs, and it was
Lee Bodden, was he that year?
Lee Bodden was around that time, and maybe Ellis Hobbs just missed that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right. Like puny Ellis Hobbs. But like the whole point I'm trying to bring up is like the reason Kyle Arrington was there, and that was when Devin McCourty was a corner. So McCourty had like 1 or 2 good years, and then he fell off, and then became the All-Pro safety. But it was guys like Kyle Arrington, Jonathan Wilhite,
Jonathan Wilhite.
Terrence Wheatley and Darius Butler. That was the end of the cornerback depth chart in
God.
2009. I'm gonna say 2010. 2010.
Oh, boy.
So then you got to say, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's why you can't do anything, because maybe McCourty has a good year that year, but Kyle Arrington's still your number 2. That's not good enough. And say it's Jonathan Wilhite is your third. I mean, that's awful. You're getting second and third receivers. You play one offense who has a decent second and third receiver, and they're going to burn those guys. And I think that's what's going to happen with this team, unless someone steps up, because the rest of our cornerback depth chart after Jason McCourty and Gilmore is Jonathan Jones, who's having a down year, and then it's like a couple undrafted rookies, like
J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson and Keon Croson, and there's another guy. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is,
We don't know who he is,
we
so
don't know
it
who they
doesn't
are,
matter.
and they're not playing well enough. Duke Dawson, second round
Duke
pick.
Dawson. Yep.
But like, he hasn't asserted himself into the lineup. If he's even active, I don't know if he's active anymore.
I don't know.
The fact of the matter is, these guys are struggling. They're not doing a good enough job against bottom of the barrel receivers, let alone decent ones. And I think that's where it's going to come back to bite us.
What about Sonny Michel?
Sonny Michel, I think, has gotten better every single game he's played. And outside of, I believe it was the Bears game when he got twisted up and really hurt himself, or
Yeah.
it looked like he really hurt himself.
Yeah, he left for the game in that one, right?
He left for the game.
Yeah.
I thought he broke everything. I thought
and
I
he
thought
just
his knee
came
was,
back. Yeah.
He
Yep.
missed that game. But I think we have a clip of Sonny Michel, if you want to roll Tide.
Who's for Georgia? Just saying.
I'm sorry, roll Tide, probably not the best phrase for that then. I actually like Georgia Bulldogs too. I mean, I was pumped for that.
I mean, that was a crazy running back core you had.
Oh my God. Him, Nick Chubb,
And Kamara.
And Alvin Kamara.
Oh, my God.
Was it Kamara? Really?
I could be wrong. I thought it was.
Gurley. It was Todd Gurley.
Oh, jeez.
Even
That's
better,
what it
maybe,
was.
arguably. You want to roll a clip? Did you have a clip set up for Sonny Michel?
It rolled.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So,
director.
Like we
If
were
it's on
saying.
the screen, it rolls.
Oh, okay.
It was not on the screen.
Well, like we
Oh,
were
was it all
saying
black?
in the digital
Whatever.
media color.
That's all good.
But like we were saying against the Jets game, probably him, Edelman. I can't really think of anybody else that really flashed at all.
Now,
I mean, he has been looking very good. He looks pretty versatile. He got a couple of catches.
Shaq Mason,
Okay, Shaq. Okay, that
It-
offensive line,
sneaky good.
snaky good. It's actually third best in the league when it comes to sacks.
It's crazy.
They've only given up.
A bit of that has to be Brady,
16
though.
sacks.
We know a bit of that is Brady. We know a bit of that has
given.
to be Brady getting the ball out, recognizing blitz packages, setting everything up. But Brady credits David Andrews with quite a bit of the offensive line shifts and everything as well. But I mean, to say that we have the third best pass protecting offensive line is probably wrong due to the quarterback.
Wrong.
I hate you. But still, to say we have a top 10 offensive line is really nice and impressive, considering that the player who I think has struggled the most is our left tackle, Trent Brown. I think he's the one
Really?
that's in pass protection. In run blocking, I think he's been tremendous.
I thought he's
Bringing it back.
I think
Just
he's
to,
been pretty
just
good.
to help you out here.
Here's some Sony. Oh, he's got some good cuts. I'll give him. But yeah, when he gets in that open space, he doesn't look as quick as I thought he would.
He's
I mean,
he's always been more bruising.
given he has had those knee issues, but he is definitely somebody that you can have as your premier running back.
He's quick, not fast.
Yeah,
That's his thing.
which is fine.
He has great cuts.
I'd rather
But-
have a quick guy that's big enough to get a couple tough yards than to have a speedster who goes down with a sneeze.
You know what he does? He does kind of the Eddie George thing. He always falls forward.
Yeah.
And I think he does a tremendous job at getting that extra yard when he's getting tackled. You know, I think a lot of times if you watch him getting tackled, he falls forward, or he always makes sure to get that extra half yard, extra yard if he can. And I think that's why he's going to be a really good talent for the next, in running back. For a running back, maybe 8 years. If he can get 8 years out of him, I'll be pretty stoked.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was surprised that they would use a first round pick on a running back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were. I really wanted them to use it on a linebacker.
Yeah.
But if Bentley pans out and ends up being a pretty solid linebacker, and you have Michelle who can stay in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't know what Wynn's going to look like.
Isaiah Wynn is the other first-round pick there, who profile. I think he was a left tackle at Georgia, but they were actually cross-training him on the entire offensive line because offensive line coach Dante Scarnecchia does a good job at that. I think during the earlier years, during the Patriots dynasty, one thing that Scarnecchia did was he made sure all the backups could play multiple spots in the line. So that's why when guys like Dan Conley came up into the league, he started as one of those super subs. So we didn't have to have, 9 offensive linemen active just to play 5.
Right.
It saved them. So they would only have 2 backups. Dan Conley was one of them, and he just played the entire interior. He played center and both guard spots. So when he actually got his opportunity to start, he could start in 3 positions seamlessly, and he just kind of went with it. I think he started when Logan Mankins was holding out on the franchise tag. I think that's where he started. So, yeah. But, I mean, other than that, I think the offensive line has looked good. Like I said, Trent Brown, I think, has excelled in the run game. Being like 6'8" certainly helps.
Oh, that guy's a moose.
350.
Holy crap.
But I think in pass protection he's a little slow. And I think he gives up a bit more pressure. Maybe not sacks, but I think he gives up a bit more pressure.
No, this is where it also kind of plays in. So even though the offensive line is ranked 3rd best with only giving up 16 sacks, like you said, Brady is a big part of it. He knows when to get rid of the ball, throw it away. But they are 19th in completion percentage.
Yeah.
And for a Brady era offense, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad, especially. But if you were to say that he's recognizing some more pressure and he's throwing more balls away, maybe that is where that comes into play.
Right.
because
So that's where I think that
Offsets a little
statistic
bit.
gets a little skewed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, okay, you've only given up 16 sacks, but how many balls is he throwing away?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it, too, has to do with the receiving core that
I was
we
just
had
gonna
early
say.
on. When I was looking this up, I was very surprised and very scared at the same time. Did you know that Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett have had roughly the same success this year? Chris Hogan and Philip Dorsett.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Chris
actually,
Hogan,
now thinking about it, but I never would have put that together.
I believe Philip Dorsett was targeted one more time than Chris Hogan. I think it was like 30-something.
Mm-hmm.
And Philip Dorsett has, I think, 26 catches, and Hogan has 27.
Yeah. I mean,
But think about it. You didn't have Edelman for the first 4 games, and he is already at 40-something catches.
also Josh Gordon. I mean,
And Josh Gordon, who also is in the 30s for catches. And you had Hogan and you had Dorsett as your main wide receivers going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's kind of scary looking back now.
And now you're saying, okay, well, where does Amendola fit into this? It's like you wouldn't pony up and pay the guy. You thought you were going to be okay with Chris Hogan.
Mhm.
He has done jack all year. He's
Yeah.
had maybe,
You're right. I mean,
And all the
wide
plays
receiver
that-
depth is really scary now.
and all the plays that he's had have been chunk plays.
Mhm.
Because people forget about him because he's been irrelevant all year.
Yeah.
He's, I think, 8 out of his 27 or so catches were a little over 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them are just plays where you either got
He gets the fourth corner and he
you
burns
get
them or something
yeah,
like that.
Exactly. You do a wide set. You get three wide receivers, and you get Gronk in there, and he's the odd man out. So you throw it to him.
Yeah. Throw it his way.
Right. I mean, obviously you're going to cover Gordon and Edelman and Gronk. So really, you look at that and it's like, okay, well, he's probably getting 20 yards or more, probably because he's on some jamoke that they threw out as their third, fourth corner.
Some practice squad-esque guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think this is where it also comes up as kind of like how I was talking about the cornerbacks, how you need those second, third, fourth cornerbacks to kind of step up at least a little bit. This is where you need Chris Hogan, Philip Dorsett, and maybe even a little bit of Cordero Patterson in that sense, who's played like the Joker role in that sense.
Literally.
That need to step up a little bit, just a little bit. If you were to get Hogan to increase, even if you were to start catching, I don't know, 2 passes a game as opposed to the maybe 1 a game.
He gets
that
targeted
helps.
maybe twice a game.
Yeah, I know, but exactly that's the problem. Is if him and Dorsett just ramp it up to 2 catches each a game, that changes the offense just exponentially. because it opens up Josh Gordon to maybe get one more single coverage on the outside, which can open one more explosive play, which could make the difference in the playoffs. It's a game of inches. Al Pacino.
It's true. But one of
Any
the
given
things that
Sunday.
really struck me, which I thought was also a little telling of the offense, was that do you know who our leading receiver is right now?
James White?
James White. Do you want to know about how many
Oof. Are we talking catches or yards?
catches?
Terrifyingly, I'm going to say probably like 15.
Oh, no. God, no.
What?
Well, my computer died, so I can't tell you exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was in the 60s.
For real?
The next closest person was in the 40s.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Catches
trying to say
for completed catches.
I was trying to say like the difference was 15.
Oh,
not James White was 15.
sorry. Yeah,
I got you.
So the difference
So-
was about 20 to 25.
Okay.
But that tells you a lot about where offense is at. Where if
Mm-hmm.
you're throwing to James White, you're getting probably 10 yards or less
Yeah.
on those. So even though you have Gordon, who can be that deep threat, you got Dorsett, who has some speed, you have Patterson, who has speed, you're not utilizing it because your leading receiver is a running back who's making maybe 10 or less yards.
Do you think that's going to be a difference for the Minnesota game? Because this is a big game for the Patriots if they want to stay pace with the Steelers, who just lost last week, and the Chiefs, who were looking to run away with the number 1 overall seed. And I think this game could be a springboard. If we show well against the Vikings, I think it brings us momentum against the Steelers, and then we just have to beat the divisional games. Do you think the wide receivers are going to be a difference in the Vikings game, though? Or what do you think is going to be the difference in the Vikings
For the
game?
Patriots?
For the Patriots, yeah.
It has to be their defense. If they're going to win this game, their defense has to play decent.
I was going to say it's got to be turnovers. We
'Cause, I mean-
have to win the turnover battle, and I think that really starts with those cornerbacks.
I mean, if you look at our offense, the worst games that we've played in the year, we're still scoring over 20 points for the most part. I mean, the Bills, that was pretty wretched. It should have been a cakewalk, but it wasn't. Ultimately, they kind of ran away with it. The Jets, same thing. It should have been a cakewalk. They played you 3 solid quarters, but they couldn't finish. And the thing that frustrated me the most is they had a 4th down shot to get in the end zone and bring it within a touchdown with still time left on the board. And you you showed weakness. You go 3 and out when you have the ball in the 4th quarter, and you give the ball back to the Jets. Yeah, I wasn't really worried because McCown was all over the place.
We are lucky that it was the Jets
Oh,
and
yeah.
not the Vikings.
If it was the
that's
Vikings,
Kirk
you lose
Cousins-
that game.
If that's Kirk Cousins, he's finding Adam Thielen or Stephon Diggs,
Yep.
and we're getting burned.
Yep, you
And
are
we're talking-
losing that game.
And we're talking about how we blew a game.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we lucked out. So ultimately, we've gone all over the place, but that's what we do because we enjoy what we're talking about, and hopefully you guys would too.
Tangentialize.
Tangentialize. There you go. So with that, my overall feeling is scared, and I actually feel worse coming out of this Jets game, even though we won, than I did going into it.
Agreed.
Because I thought, okay, the Jets, they'll get their mojo back. They'll have a bye week.
I thought 34-14.
Oh, they'll trounce them.
35-14.
Yeah, they'll be in the 30s. They'll give up maybe a touchdown and a couple of field goals. But the Jets took you to 3 full quarters, and it took you until the last couple of minutes to finally win that game.
I thought we would sleepwalk that game.
Oh my God! So
Sleepwalk win
Yeah.
that game.
so that was terrifying.
Why do we always play to the level of our competition?
It's-
I mean, it's awful.
Absolutely maddening.
It really is.
Do we do it on purpose? Is it because they can't get hype if they know that it's supposed to be a cakewalk? Like, I don't understand.
I think they just-
figured they get excited.
I
just
think
show
they just
off
take it
all
for
day.
granted.
I think it's a bit of complacency.
Wild.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they get up for it. I think they say it's the Jets. It's the lowly Jets. They're 3-8. They're gonna finish with 6 wins maybe. We're gonna walk all over them,
Yeah.
and then they don't walk all over them because it's football and anything can happen. And the Jets don't have like this Jets team isn't like that winless Browns team. You know, they actually have like some decent players who don't suck. So
Right.
they have to get up a little bit for it because do we play them one more time? Do we have the Jets?
That's our
is it
season
week
ender.
17?
Yep, week
Yeah.
17 in Foxborough.
So it's like we have to play that team one more time. And if I'm a Jets fan watching that and I say, man, could you imagine if that was Sam Darnold and not Josh McCown in that game? And Sam Darnold plays decently? I mean,
That's a close game if Sam Darnold plays decently.
now if you're the Jets, you say, well, if we had our young stud quarterback who we all believe in, maybe we beat the Patriots. Just giving the Jets fans hope that they can beat the Patriots is not a good thing.
Hope is the best and most dangerous thing you can ever get a person.
That was some deep stuff right there, man.
I'm
I don't
just
know.
saying. I'm just saying. Hope is the greatest or the worst thing you could ever give somebody.
If we got our soundboard guy to get on his game, you know, there
Nah,
could
that's
be
okay.
something
We're
to
still,
that.
we'll still working on the hope.
We'll
but
get some sounds.
Okay,
We'll-
okay.
in the next few podcasts, we'll get some sound.
We're building towards sound.
We're building.
Well, the other scary thing is our running defense is not what I expected it to be. I was actually surprised the Jets didn't run it more because they're passing. They're in the.
They ran it 5 to 7 times that game. It was,
I was-
something like minuscule.
And granted, we've been talking about the cornerbacks a lot, but I think their run defense is almost as concerning as the pass defense. They have looked like Swiss cheese, especially on the outside.
Imagine playing
They've been
Pittsburgh.
giving up. Oh, that's what I'm most worried about.
Connor can play. I mean, James Conner's a good running back.
And even I thought they were going to be solid up the middle. You had Malcolm Brown, and I was excited to get Danny Shelton because he was a pretty solid player. And I was like, okay, now
He's a big boy, yeah.
They'll clog up the middle. It'll have to be on the outsides.
It's what
and-
happens when we play a 4-3 defense.
Yeah, and Flowers is athletic. He could probably get to the outside.
He's been outstanding, actually.
Guy is athletic. He could probably get to the outside. So I thought, okay, well, their run defense at least is going to be good. They got also get Claiborne.
Well,
And-
think about playing Minnesota now. We got Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray, who are 2 legitimately good running backs.
And that's where my worry comes in. Because if the Jets weren't freaking morons, if they actually ran the ball,
Like,
I thought
committed, yeah.
if they committed, yeah, they did 2 and it didn't really work. And it's like, okay, I'll just let this freaking
Air it out.
40-year-old Jameau throw it all over the freaking place.
Well, that's kind of like what we do
Get a
now.
cheerleader in the head.
Well, I'm interested to see how they do because ESPN's already overreacting to the Steelers' loss by saying that this is it. The Steelers can't make the playoffs now. That they're just going to falter all because of this one little loss.
It's the playoffs. They're the 3rd seed.
No, they're going to make it. They're just going to make it through.
Oh,
I think they're the 2nd seed.
I think
Because
third. No.
the tie, right? So aren't they like half a game up on us?
they're 7-3
I'll look it up.
and 1. The Chiefs are
Oh, they're
9
7-3 and
2.
1. Gotcha. Never mind.
Chiefs are 9 and 2, and we're 8 and 3.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think
Right.
that Steelers. These are the.
The Vikings and the Steelers are the 2
Are the
next
Steelers?
games
Okay.
in Pittsburgh. We're
Okay.
home for Minnesota now. We go to Pittsburgh. We got to win in Heinz Field.
These 2 games are the Patriots season right here.
Mm-hmm.
Other than playoffs, these are the 2 most important games of the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't win in Minnesota, you're screwed. You're not getting home field. It's a given. Fact, not opinion.
Yeah, I mean, how are we supposed to stop Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph and Dalvin Cook and Latavius Murray because they have formations where all of them are on the field at the same time?
Yeah, that's the thing is who you're supposed to take care of.
Right,
If
exactly.
we always take away the one guy. They have
They have
all the guys.
They don't have one guy.
Right. They have 5 guys.
We're gonna have to put everyone on an island, and that's terrifying. You're gonna have to man up on that team because if you play zone, Kirk Cousins can beat zone. Zone defense is not that intricate anymore. Zone defense is not this like mind blowing. This isn't the '80s. Zone defense, you can break down zone defense with like a decent, like pure passing quarterback like Kirk Cousins is.
I love Cousins. I've always been a
Yeah,
Cousins
you've always
guy.
been a big Cousins guy.
I think that was great for them. But
All guaranteed.
yeah.
Was it 86?
Oh,
I think it was like 3 years, 86 million.
Oh, yeah, it was up there. I think it was in the 80s. But
Just straight up money.
I think he's a solid quarterback.
He is.
I think
He was a great move. Even on that contract, based off of everything, you only have him for 3 years.
It's worth it.
So if anything goes wrong, you don't sacrifice seasons and seasons and seasons. Like you don't waste Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen's prime with a rotation of Case Keenum and hoping Teddy Bridgewater comes back or whatever they had last year.
Yep.
You have a guaranteed guy. Kirk Cousins is going to get you top 15 quarterback, probably top 10, but like he's right there. They're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. I think the Vikings are I think the Vikings are going to win the division. I think they're going to take it from the Bears simply because they're a deeper, more all-around team with the more polished quarterback.
Right.
Although I do think the Bears have the best defense in the league by far.
Also right.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think the key for the Pats to win this game against Minnesota, I think it is stopping the run.
You think
I think it's stopping the run, and you try and get them to play one game. I guess
I think it's turnovers. I think at the end of the day, it's got to be you got to win turnover battle. I mean, if you look at the Patriots, they're +5 in turnovers. That's best for 9th in the league. The Vikings, they're only +2. That's 16th. They're very middle of the pack. So they do turn the ball over a little bit. Dalvin Cook does fumble a little bit. And I think we have to take advantage of that. The problem is, he's just damn fast. And if you're relying on Hightower to get to the edge, to beat him to the edge on a screen, it's going to be a long day Sunday.
Yeah, so that's why I say take away the run game, try and stop them having the entire possession. Because if they let you run all over, or if the Patriots let Minnesota run all over them, time of possession, I don't think the Patriots can do what they used to do and just be, okay, we got 2 minutes, go down, score. I don't think they have the
Absolutely.
weapons. I don't think they've been clicking as well as they had in the past. So at that point, I think the Patriots have to have about 50-50 split possession time
Agreed.
if they have
yeah.
any chance of winning this game. It's not one of those where the Patriots can say, all right, we got the best quarterback. If they have 20 minutes of possession, they can still win the game. I do not feel that way.
Agreed. But you know what? I am just worried about them as a whole. I mean, you're right, though. At the end of the day, this game and the Pittsburgh game are the biggest games of the season, and if we don't take both of them, it's going to be tough to get a bye.
Yeah. I think this is essentially going to be that test where people say, oh, yeah, the Patriots have a bend, don't break defense. That'll be good enough. This is going to be the time where you can test it because these are the two best offensive teams you're going to face the rest of the year. And this is where you can test that theory. Okay, can they actually bend and will it break?
Right.
So, okay, you give up all those yards like you usually do with that crap bag defense half the time you have. And, okay, you get field goals. These two games are going to be the test. Can you hold the field goals or are you going to give up those touchdowns? If you give up those touchdowns, you're toast for the rest of the season. You're not making it anywhere in the playoffs.
Absolutely. But on that note, we're going to take another quick break. So we'll be right back.
Julie means more to me than anything. And I wanted to ask you, before I ask her, may I have your permission to marry her?
Is this some sort of a joke? A mall store ring? Don't disrespect my mother like that. Take that thing back and go to Bellman Jewelers.
Shopping for a diamond at the mall? Don't bother. Even a 9-year-old knows the difference. Shop at Bellman Jewelers, 1650 Elm Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Because at Bellman's, it's always a matter of trust.
I have
Oh, I'm in on
fans.
it.
I have a million fans.
Welcome back, everyone. We are going to do On the Spot, where I show them 3 videos and we talk about what's going on in the. This time it's going to be in the NFL.
Woo woo.
We might switch up the sports.
Here we go.
All right, let's see this wonderful play. I'll bring it up right now. This is just going to be something of beauty here.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Dalton with a second down and 10 up the middle, the pressure. The ball downfield, it's picked
Oh,
off
and
on the
who's he
play.
handed to? Ah, Hugh Jackson.
Picked up
Beautiful
by-
play.
And he taps him on the helmet. That's so awesome.
It just shows
shows you how inept he is.
how oblivious he
Holy
is to the
crap.
fact that they did not like him. I mean, oh God.
Can we see that one more time? That's just too good.
You
That
may
is-
absolutely see that
Oh,
one
that's
more
just
time.
too
Let me
good. I
bring
want to see that
back.
one more time.
Let's bring it back up on the screen
so
here.
awesome.
And
I just love the playful tap on the helmet.
Dalton with a second down and 10 up the middle, the pressure. The ball
What an
downfield,
awful
it's
throw.
Not
picked
even
up by the
close.
play.
Yeah, buddy, he's not your player anymore.
I
I mean,
You're
he didn't
moron.
even look back. He had nothing.
He just
That was a
Here you
terrible
go.
throw too. Oh my god. That was like
Jeez.
a Peterman Big Brother right there.
Yeah, right.
Holy
That's-
crap.
That's bad Dalton right there.
That
bad
is some
Andy.
funny stuff right there. I love to see it. As my brother would say. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Love
That was
to see
amazing. I mean, it was a great.
Woof.
It was just awesome to see.
it. Ooh, doggy.
All right, here's another.
Bad in a few ways.
Here's
Is this
another
the-
wonderful.
Is this the last clip?
Here's a new clip.
Part
All right.
dose.
Quandre Diggs, who just got his partner Antonio Brown, gets it, and now it's just a foot race.
Juju.
We talked about how tough he is, what a great blocker he is.
He really is a freak.
And
He
now,
is so
holder
fast.
of an NFL record.
I mean, if we had him on the Patriots, it would
Oh
just
my
be
god,
insane.
he is a freak talent.
He has two 97-yard receiving. Words are very hard right now. Two 97-yard touchdown catches.
We have words. We have the best words. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And
Jared. Where's my quesadilla?
It's behind the wall.
Whoa. We do not condone this behavior.
All right, and the last play is our mistake of the week.
Ooh. I swear, if it's about me, I don't like it.
Let's bring up the mistake of the week.
Ooh, what do we got?
Getting worried.
Cutler.
I am getting worried.
Barkley, football is loose. Barkley has to fall on it. As they avert
Oh,
this
let's see
Cutler.
that again.
Let's see for the first time because someone
Oh, sorry,
showed
boys.
on our. There we go.
Football is loose. Barkley has to fall
Oh,
on
man.
It is a gym though.
I wish that he did recover it.
Barkley, football is loose.
it is just
Barkley has to
impressive.
fall on it as they avert disaster.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Gunther's defense comes
Oh,
out of the
that's
play. Smith got shoved down.
Oh, these are some old
These are
gems.
just some, this is from week 12. This is only this week.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
That's
not.
That's,
That's
Cox, the
that's
snapper.
Steve
Oh, is
Smith.
it?
Yeah, this is where
Okay.
worst plays of the week, like maybe 2 years ago. That was Steve Smith.
I was
mean,
going
he's
to say
been
that
retired
was.
for a couple of years,
I was
man.
going to say that's Matt Barkley with Chicago.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
wait a minute.
Freaking NFL.com's lying to me.
Oh my
I mean,
god.
it's accurate in the sense that it was week 12, but you got to look at when it posted.
They don't have
Who
the year.
hired you, anyways? Who hired you?
What's your
don't
last
have
name
the
again?
year.
Oh wait, it's on us. Thanks for the jobs, buddy.
Trump, you want to guess out of this?
All right, thank you for joining Pop Sports. We had a great time. It was fantastic. To all my friends out there, keep up the good work. And, Jared, make me a sandwich. I gotta go. For Jerry and Drew, this is Pop Sports. Thank you, Alex. Goodbye.